All right, let's dive right in. Today, we are talking about a system, a real methodology that's designed to bring some much needed structure to the wild, chaotic world of trading. It's called the 1% ROI system. Think of it as a blueprint for leaving all that guesswork behind and moving toward a process that's repeatable and, actually based on math. But before we get into the nuts and bolts, we have to tackle the big question, probably the very reason you're tuning in. Why on earth do most traders lose? I mean, even really smart people get into trading and just get crushed. It's this super frustrating cycle, right? But believe it or not, there's a pretty clear answer. And this slide, this right here, is the absolute heart of the issue. See, trading is this constant tug of war between two totally opposite forces. Over on one side, you've got emotion. That's your gut feel, the hype you see on Twitter, just pure, unadulterated chaos. But on the other side, you've got math, a world of clear rules, of probability, of structure. The problem is, most traders are living their lives way over on the left side of this slide, and that's where everything goes wrong. So this brings us to what we can call the trader's dilemma. It's this vicious cycle that I'm sure some of you will recognize, that feeling of being trapped between making these random emotional guesses and trying, but failing, to stick to a real strategy. It's so easy to get lost when you don't have a solid framework to guide you. Okay, so let's get specific. Why does this happen? Well, it usually boils down to a few classic mistakes. A lot of traders will find one piece of the puzzle, maybe one indicator they like, and they just fixate on it, totally ignoring everything else. Or they're always chasing that one monster home run trade, that one lottery ticket that's going to change everything. They just don't get the math behind risk and what expectancy really means. And at the end of the day, they let fear and greed call all the shots. Seriously, does any of that sound familiar? So what's the way out? Well, I can tell you, it's not some new magic indicator or a secret trading trick. The real solution is a complete methodology, a whole system built on a super strong foundation, a foundation made of two separate but equally important pillars. And here they are. This system literally stands on two legs. The first pillar is what we call quantitative trading. This is all about the math. The second pillar is technical analysis, and this is all about understanding the market itself. By splitting them up like this, you can actually master each one on its own, and then, when you put them together, well, that's when things get really powerful. Okay, so let's start by breaking down that first pillar, the math. This side of the system is all about answering one incredibly important question before you even think about clicking the buy button. From a numbers perspective, why does this trade actually make sense? So, quantitative trading, that's the engine of logic in this whole thing. It's just the practice of using hard numbers, probabilities, and this idea of expectancy to completely strip emotion and guesswork out of the equation. You stop asking, do I feel good about this trade? And you start asking, do the numbers support this trade? It's a total game changer. And just look at what you get when you take this approach. You get a rules-based foundation to stand on, something solid. It forces you to be disciplined, which builds consistency. And maybe, most important of all, it gives you a real math-backed understanding of why your system has an edge over the long haul. And that, right there, is the only source of real trading confidence. I love this quote because it just nails it. When you put the math first, you're not playing the same game anymore. Trading stops feeling like you're pulling the arm on a slot machine, and it starts to feel more like you're playing chess. You are literally moving from gambling to deliberate strategy. But look, having the logic locked down isn't quite enough. And that brings us to the second pillar, the market. So if the math pillar answers the question why, this pillar is all about answering when and where you should apply that logic. And this is where good old technical analysis comes into play. Now, in this system, it's not about memorizing 100 different candlestick patterns. No way. It's about developing the practical skill of just reading the chart, understanding what the market is telling you about its trend, its momentum, its overall behavior, all so you can get your timing right. So what does that mean in practice? Well, it means you can actually read the price action itself. You can see the flow of trends and momentum with your own eyes. It helps you pinpoint those critical areas of support and resistance. And all of that funnels down into one key outcome: timing your entries and your exits intelligently, instead of just guessing. So you've got the logic from the math, and you've got the clarity from the market. But the real magic, the secret sauce, is what happens when you put them together. Let's talk about how these two pillars combine to build something every single trader craves, but very few ever find: real, unshakable confidence.
And this is exactly why that two-pillar structure is so critical. The reason most traders fail is because they're trying to build their entire career on just one of them. You've got the chart artists on one side who can draw a million lines but know nothing about risk or probability. And then you've got the stats nerds who have a perfect spreadsheet but don't respect what the live market is actually doing. Both approaches are totally incomplete.
And this, right here, is the formula that makes it all click. The quantitative side, the math, provides the unshakable logic. The technical analysis, the charts, provides the clarity on what's happening in this very moment. And when you have both logic and clarity, the natural outcome, the thing that grows from that combination, is genuine confidence in what you're doing.
So really, the biggest takeaway from all of this is a fundamental shift in your mindset. The goal of a system like this is not to hit grand slams. It's not about finding that one in a million lottery ticket. It is about developing a process for hitting repeatable, manageable singles day in and day out, because that's how you actually build a trading account and a career for the long haul. Which leaves us with one last really important question for you to think about. I want you to take an honest look at your own trading right now. Are you trying to build your whole approach on a single wobbly pillar, just hoping a gust of wind doesn't knock it over? Or are you building it on the solid, stable foundation of two?